Hello, parents, guardians. My name is Lauren Peck, and I am a math teacher here at Stony Creek High School. It is my 8th year teaching and my 8th year teaching at Stony Creek and with Rochester Community Schools. I just wanted to make a video and talk with you about a little bit of stuff in the math department at Stony Creek, specifically the different math options that we have and pathways for your student, as well as just, what you'll see from our math department. And also, especially since we have so many 8th graders taking Algebra 1 and their next jump is geometry, what is that difference between geometry and honors geometry? So let me just get my presentation up for you to go through some of that. Okay, so first starting with the different pathways for math that are available, once they're in high school, and this would be any high school in the district here. So in 8th grade, there's 2 options that they're taking right now. And I'm going to talk about the first one if you have a student that is currently in Math 8. So if you have a student in Math 8, the general pathway now would be to take Algebra 1 next year as a freshman, and then their sophomore year, they would have the choice to, take geometry or take honors geometry. And then 11th grade, following that same schedule of going into Algebra 2 or honors Algebra 2. And then in 12th grade, there's kind of a few options as, a senior. And let me say too, there's some elective opportunities that count towards math credits. And this is more of that like general pathway they could do. But when they're a senior, the jump tends to be to pre-calc or honors pre-calc, or they have the option to take an AP stats class or an intro to college math class. Right? So kind of that general pathway. Now, anytime, a student does make that jump to honors, like let's say they go this route, but they take honors geometry as a sophomore, they could still choose to then take regular Algebra 2 as a junior, okay, or vice versa. Like it's okay to kind of get off of that honors track at any time with what they decide. Now, if there is an 8th grader currently taking Algebra 1, then, it still follows that same format. Now, after Algebra 1, either geometry or honors geometry, Algebra 2 or honors Algebra 2, pre-calc or honors pre-calc. And then after that, the jump is to AP Calculus. And there's AB Calculus or BC Calculus, or Calc AB and Calc BC, where Calculus, if you take the AB portion, is going to cover all of Calc 1, where that BC portion will cover all of Calc 1 and Calc 2 within that year. Or they could choose to take AP Stats. And like I said, this tends to be the general pathway that students go. But there's, other classes here at Stony Creek that count towards math credit, personal finance classes, accounting classes, engineering classes. So there's some other classes in here that can count towards those math credits that they need. With all of the math classes though, and within the entire math department, I can honestly say that they are going to get some incredible teaching. I promise, awesome colleagues and people here at Stony Creek that they're going to, be with to take care of them. And we specifically all really work well together. So if your child is taking Algebra 1, all of those Algebra 1 teachers will, work together and collaborate. Same with geometry, Algebra 2, and pre-calc. So I can speak for all of us. I've taught Algebra 1. I currently am teaching honors geometry. I'm currently teaching Algebra 2. I've taught Intro to College Math, so I've taught a number of math classes here at Stony Creek, and every single class and the way that it's set up is designed really well to make sure students are practicing those critical thinking skills and, different ways to see math and different methods to approach it. So it's going to be a really good experience for them. The next part is really just going to focus more on, if you're currently taking Algebra 1, what is the difference between geometry and honors geometry? So let me first say that a big question I tend to get, because I teach honors geometry here at Stony Creek, and a big question that I tend to get from, um, you know, 8th grade parents is, what does honors do for my student and their GPA or things like that? And it doesn't do anything different than a regular geometry would. It doesn't do anything different. It's more just the rigor of the course that they're going to experience. So it's not like an AP class where it's weighted in any way with their GPA. It's all still treated the same way. So let me start there. Some other things and comparisons and differences between the two, the pacing is very similar. So we're not necessarily moving faster in an honors geometry class than a regular geometry class. And we all will cover the same geometry standards. It's just that in that honors geometry class, we're going to take it to the next level. They will be exposed to a little bit more content, some supplementary stuff that we'll introduce to them, including, a little bit more with some quadratics that they're going to see, specifically, factoring, things like that. We're going to expose them a little bit more to something like the unit circle. So we will in honors geometry just dive a little bit deeper with some more rigorous topics, but both classes are covering the same geometry standards that are required of any student taking geometry. Several like honors geometry type problems, if you're kind of just comparing, all right, it's a normal chapter, we're covering the same sections, what's the difference? In an honors geometry class versus a geometry class, those students will see problems that might take them a few more steps to get to their answer than a problem in a geometry class. So a problem that might take just 1 to 2 steps in a regular geometry class might require more like 3 to 4 steps in an honors geometry class, and having to do a little bit more with that. Okay, just kind of putting that example there. So should your student take honors geometry if they are currently in Algebra 1? Here's some recommendations I give from a teacher's perspective, some recommendations I give to, Algebra 1 students over at Stony Creek. Here are my recommendations. If your student is in Algebra 1 and they have at least a 93% grade in the class, a 93% average on their assessments, they're motivated and driven, they ask questions when they need to, they grasp concepts pretty quickly, easily, and I really like this big one, and they're okay with not getting an A. These are some factors like initially I share with my students that are thinking about taking an honors class. Now, please know, I am not saying that honors geometry is not for your child if they don't have that solid A. I'm just saying that if they for sure have that solid A, this is a really good jump for them to make, right? And the reason why I say they're okay with not getting an A, because I know that grade is so important, but I want them to take an honors class or an advanced class, any class they take at Stony, because they are passionate about it and they love the subject and they want to learn. They want to learn. So here's some other things too to consider for taking honors geometry. They're dedicated. They are hardworking. Again, they're not going to take it for that easy A. Like, they're willing to put the effort in every single day. You're signing up for it because you want to be challenged. That effort's going to be put in inside class, but also outside of class, whether it's, doing a little bit more practice or preparing or studying for an assessment. Not waiting though until the last minute to study for that assessment. Asking for help as soon as they need it. Just such a big thing and tool to have for any class, but specifically an honors type class when you might feel like everybody else is understanding it, but you're having trouble. There's many multi-step and application type problems like I talked about, and you will be applying skills from Algebra 1. So that's why it's so important to have that solid grasp of the content in Algebra 1 if you decide to take honors geometry. And just kind of an important note with the class is you cannot switch out of it until after a full semester. And sometimes it's a full year. Okay, just kind of giving that. So I am just going to put my email here for you, and you're more than welcome to send me an email. If you have any questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to email me. I'll put it right here for you, but it's just LPeck for Lauren Peck at rochester.k12.mi.us. Sorry, I didn't have that ready to go. And I hit share instead of present. There we go. But again, my name is Lauren Peck, and I am the honors geometry teacher currently at Stony Creek. And I have been teaching the class here this is my, I've been here 8 years, and this is my 8th year teaching the class, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you're wondering just about our math department in general. So thank you so much for your time and watching, and have a great rest of your day.